embrace you all today to take your own personal discovery. Not searching, anybody can search. Google's created a whole website around it. But actual discovery. My name's Carl and I run Pondera, which is a personal discovery platform, along with mentoring technology startups. And one question that I ask when I mentor is, what is something that you don't know that can actually increase your business success? So what I mean by this is, and research shows, that there's like 100% of knowledge. And most people know, let's say, 5% of that. They know 5% of what they know. Like, I know how to drive, I know English, and I know a little bit of coding. And then there's this 15% of things that we know that we don't know. So I know that I can't fly a jet plane as much as I'd love to. I know that there are lots of languages that I don't know that I could speak. And then there's 80% of things that we actually don't know that we don't know. And that's the thirst and vision that are created for me on Pondera. But it was an international path to discovery that took me there. So to take on my international adventure, I grew up in Sydney, my little island on the other side of the world, and ran a few companies, was lucky enough to sell one of them off when I was 25. At that stage, I thought this was my opportunity to discover. So I ended up in Slovakia before they joined the European Union, and before the European Union, looking at Slovakia joining the European Union. And for me, this was an amazing discovery, actually having a country that I can actually walk into another country on the line, away from an island. It was fascinating for even the diplomat circle that I was working part of, to discover these new countries coming involved, and discover new things they didn't even know to think about. But diplomacy being diplomacy, I stopped and reflected and said, what else is there that's exciting that I can discover out there? Which led me to working in New York and Toronto, North America. I was working for Hewlett Packard, and somehow my mentor became Carly Figaro, who is the CEO for Hewlett Packard at the time. And we spoke about discovery. She started off as a receptionist and made it all the way to the top of HP. And we thought about, if you search, you will very rarely find, but if you discover, her discovery path of taking to that level, discover running such a massive company like HP, discovering of running the American politics in business, and how mind-boggling that is, and how to be open to such things. So my love of Europe brought me back into work in London, and I started consulting to my beloved advertising industry, which is where I had my biggest discovery ever. So I was working literally around the clock, day in, day out, and I ended up at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, the only sober person on a night bus. Then, halfway through my journey, this other woman, Catherine, who I didn't know at the time, also got on the bus and sat next to me, and we gave each other a look, what are we doing here on this bus at this time? This is Catherine. And somehow our energies came together, and we had a discussion of why we were on the bus. For her, it was going to some Reiki workshop that her husband bought the wrong tickets for. I didn't even know what Reiki was. And I told her that I was doing this international global stuff for American Express, and she didn't have an idea what I was talking about, and said I haven't even walked into an office building. And it was this fascination that brought us together, like totally naive of each other's world, that we discovered so much. And non-related, 2 weeks later I ended up in Moorfields Eye Hospital with 9 ulcers in my eyes due to stress related. And Catherine was amazing, taught me so much about yoga, about Reiki, about raw food, about so much about the way of life, of having a calm life, but still be embracing the city. This was massively personal development for me, but also became more apparent when we both brought our friend groups together. And one particular incident was when one of my primary school friends, Mike, who was an investment banker, actually met one of Catherine's friends, Sarah. And Sarah ran a health food store down at South Kensington. And I overheard the latter part of their conversation. They were discussing about stress and work life and all the rest of it. And somehow it came up that Mike was saying that he was lethargic and run down working investment banking. And you know, even though he had a great eating and he ate well. And so Sarah naturally says, so what do you eat? Like, well, you know, I'm not a morning person, so you know, I get my coffee, my chocolate muffin on the way, and at lunch I go to Subway, but that's eating fresh. And in the evenings my wife cooks me up a steak and then curry, and still I'm so tired. And Sarah sort of bewilderment, and you think that's a healthy sort of diet? Mike, being very self-defensive, was like, well, yeah, if you can come up with something better, I'd like to know. So I was like, well, one of my friends delivers raw food. I'll get her to deliver you raw food for the next 2 weeks, and I bet you, that was probably he said, bet, I bet you that you'll have more energy. Mike loving bedding, said, cool, I'll take you up on the challenge. But how convenient is that? Do I need to put it in the oven or can I just microwave it up? So it's like, no, you can it's raw food, you just take it out of the fridge. So a couple of weeks after that, I got an email from Mike, very prim proper. It's like, Carl, how well do you know this person? We had this conversation, it's not really relevant what it was, but we took on this challenge and she's, for me to have more energy having this raw food, but I think she's tampered the food. I'm a competitive person, but this is something I wouldn't engage with. And so I responded back like, you know what, Mike, I don't really actually know her that well, but I'm sure she hasn't drugged your food. And I think about 2 weeks later, like, no, I've taken precautions. I've like cleaned out the food because I said I'd do this bet, so I would. Like, okay. And then after a few weeks, he's like, you know what, I think there may be, which we now call Sarah food. I think there's maybe something behind the Sarah food. I'm going to get a few more orders, which I think, okay. And then I actually caught up with Mike a couple of months afterwards, and he was like a changed person. Like, I've known him since primary school. He's always been stressed and competitive, but he was so much more relaxed and so much more energized. It's like, Carl, this Sarah food is amazing. Raw food. I've actually brought my entire Barclays Caps M&A team over to having it, and everyone in the firm has actually noticed a difference. This is extraordinary. Now, the discovery for Mike was massive. He was never going to search for it. He didn't even know what to search, but it changed his life and his team around him. Discovery is powerful and life-changing. And that's exactly, wow, cool. That's exactly what we're doing at Pondera. Pondera is a discovery platform. We have over 100 inspiration clubs of all the top thought leaders, mentors, soft skill coaches, all brought together, bringing their Twitter feeds, their Facebooks, their YouTube clips. We have Anthony Robbins and Oprah Winfrey, and obviously even Elliot Kay, coach of the Hub himself. Yeah. But the more the people engage with Pondera, the more people use Pondera, the more the Pondera gets to know you as your unique individual, and then be able to tailor the site for yourself. So my question for you today is, what is your personal path? And what is it that you haven't already discovered that you can, that will change your business and personal life? Thank you.